2.
Hi, I'm Jesse Halliday, the Executive Chef at VA Portland Healthcare System. Today we'll be showing you the 3 essential knives you'll find in a home kitchen and how to safely sharpen them. The first knife we're going to use is called a chef knife. This is a 10-inch knife. They also come in other sizes, but I personally recommend the 10-inch. I feel the 10-inch has more functionality because you can cut larger items such as watermelons or large roasts. With a smaller knife, you would have to cut around or make multiple cuts to get the job done. Ensure the knife is stainless steel. German steel is preferred by chefs, but overall the general rule is that the steel must be rigid and cannot have any flex. Flexible knives, when sharpened, tend to dull quicker than stainless steel and lose more metal throughout its life. With German steel, this is less of an issue. The second knife we're going to use is the paring knife. This is used for detail work with small items. Chefs use this knife for peeling, such as an apple. You can also use it for cutting tops off strawberries and things of that nature. The last knife we're going to use is the boning knife. These come in 2 different varieties, the rigid version and the flexible version. The rigid knife is designed for red meats or pork or chicken. The flexible knife is designed for fish because the flesh of the meat is a little more delicate, and so having the extra flexibility really helps out. So now that we've described the 3 essential knives, I'll demonstrate different ways to care for them. The easiest tool used to sharpen knives is called a honing steel. A honing steel doesn't actually sharpen a knife, rather it hones the edge that's already there. There are multiple methods to accomplish this, but I'll explain the most efficient way. Run your knife at a 15-degree angle down the length of the honing steel. Then hone the other edge of the knife and repeat on both sides. To ensure safety, perform the sharpening away from you, while still sharpening at a 15-degree angle down both sides of the blade. Repeat the sharpening on both sides a few times until you feel that the sharpening is complete. Test the new refinement, and repeat as necessary, honing both sides. To test the sharpness of the knife, stroke your finger perpendicular to the blade. Don't stroke your finger parallel to the blade because you will cut yourself. Ensure you stroke your finger perpendicular to the blade lightly to feel how sharp the knife is. What you're trying to feel for is called a burr. When a knife gets dull, the knife edge will actually curve in on itself, creating a burr. It'll make the knife dull. Feel the sharpness of the knife. Make sure there is no burr there. If you feel uncomfortable running your finger over the knife, test it by cutting some produce. Personally, I recommend using the finger method because it'll make you familiar with the blade. Now, if honing does not work for sharpening your knife, eventually you're going to have to sharpen it using some other method. Instead of taking it to a sharpening store or someplace that sharpens it for you, you can do it yourself. Now, I have here a sharpening stone that I purchased over the internet. The stone was relatively cheap, it was only $2. There are 2 sides of this stone, a coarse and a medium grain. There are also fine grain stones available. Make sure you soak the stone in water for about 15 minutes prior to applying oil. I'll explain why momentarily. Place the stone over a damp towel so that it won't move too much. You don't want any movement because you'll definitely cut yourself when you're sharpening the knife. The last thing you'll need is a mineral oil. You don't want to use regular kitchen oil like vegetable oil or olive oil because it'll leave a residue over your stone which will build up over time and ruin the stone. All I'm going to do is apply a small amount of mineral oil over the top of the stone. If you do not soak the stone in water for 15 minutes prior to applying the mineral oil, the stone will soak the oil up like a sponge. The oil acts as a lubricant during the sharpening of the knife. Spread the mineral oil throughout the stone's surface. Now you'll use the same technique used with the honing steel. You're going to use a 15-degree angle, but you're going to want to keep the knife at that angle across the entire stone. Cut into the stone diagonally, keeping the same angle as you drag it across the stone, while keeping a light pressure on the edge of the blade. Don't cut straight into the stone, and don't swipe across the stone. Again, keeping the blade at a 15-degree angle, drag it across the stone diagonally while keeping a light pressure on the edge of the blade. Repeat this process on the opposite side of the knife. Ensure you drag the whole edge of the blade across the stone. Repeat this process about 5 or 6 times till you get used to the technique. When you feel that you are done, test the knife like we did when using the honing steel. Run your finger over the blade as you did earlier and check for burrs. If you applied uneven pressure when sharpening the knife on either side of the knife, you'll feel a burr going left or right. To fix that, run the knife across the stone over the burr side once, then test again. Finally, when you're done using the sharpening stone, use the honing steel to give the edge a keen finish. So, today I showed you 3 essential knives in the home kitchen and 2 different methods of sharpening them. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy cooking!